Hey guys, happy Sunday. Welcome back to Speaking 360. Hey, happy Father's Day. If you're a father and you're celebrating Father's Day today, then happy Father's Day. In fact, if you're a father and you're not celebrating Father's Day, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers. In fact, happy Father's Day to everyone. I hope everyone's having a great day. Susan said to me yesterday, actually, she said, what do you want to do for Father's Day? Should we go out somewhere? I said, I don't mind, whatever you think. She said, well, I'll speak to the kids then and we'll come up with something. And so then yesterday she came home, she said, we're going axe throwing. It's like, what? What do you mean we're going axe throwing? She said, it's just down the road. I think it would be fun. We'll give it a go. So we got there 12 o'clock today, and we're kind of looking at it, and it's like bowling lanes. There's all these axe lanes, and it's about 10 yards to this wood on the back wall, and the lady is explaining to us how it works, and these are the rules, and stand here, and only 2 people at a time, and safety, all of that stuff. And then she took us down to the target, and she kind of says, right, if you hit it in here, get it in this is 5 points here, and between here and here is 3 points, and if it's on the line here, it's 1 point. And I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking, if I manage to throw the axe and it just sticks in the wood, that's a big win. I don't care where it goes. If I can just do that, I'd be like, that would be amazing. And she laughed and she said, oh no, you'll be surprised. You'll get good at it, after a while. It's not as difficult as you think once you kind of learn, you go through the process. So we started playing, and I used to spend hours as a kid. There was a group of us, we'd like throw knives into the tree. That was the thing, could you throw a knife into the tree? We'd see it on the films, and that was something we'd spent a lot of time doing. And so I actually got the hang of it reasonably quickly, so the point that I could go whang and it go boom and like stick into the wood, which I was thrilled about. This is amazing. Then Leon got the hang of it. Now Leon, we got 4 kids, they were all there. Leon was the 12-year-old. He was throwing it and it was going and at least every other time it was sticking into the wood, which is like amazing. I'm videoing all of these thinking, this is incredible. I should have got a video actually for you. If you haven't been, it's like really eye-opening. Anyway, then Louis, 8-year-old Louis, just barely holding his axe above his head with both hands and like flowing it down. It's like boom, and sticking into the wood as well. And then Emily got the hang of it, and then Susan got the hang of it. So all of us, even Eliza had a go. All of us, after about 90 minutes, could throw the axe down the lane and it would stick into the wood at the end. And we could do it with some degree of accuracy as well. We were getting like bullseye after bullseye after bullseye. It was amazing. There's like green dots for extra points, and you could get quite near these green dots on the wall in just like 90 minutes. So it really was extraordinary. We had a great time. We were there for 2 hours. And so it made me think, what am I going to talk about today? Well, I think this quote from Winston Churchill fits perfectly with this. Never, never give up. Never give up. Never, never give up. Why? Because if you don't give up, if you keep going, if you stick at it, then you get better, don't you? You persist and you get better. Well, why did we persist? Why did we persist in throwing these? We had no expectation that we'd be able to do it, and didn't even know if we were going to enjoy it. But it was great fun, and so because it was fun, we kept going. Never give up, never give up is great advice. But if it's a real grind, it's much more difficult to stick at it, isn't it? But if you're having fun, if you're enjoying yourself, it's easy. Les Brown said, humor disengages the ego. Just think about that. Humor disengages the ego. See, we start out when we're particularly the audience very often, we're all the same, we're all a little bit judgy. And so that's how we tend to start out. And the humor disengages the ego. If we're having fun, then our arms cross, we lean in a little bit, and we're open to learning. And we don't just judge other people, we judge ourselves, don't we? Most people don't want to go back to being a learner again. So, humor disengaging the ego is a big thing. We don't want to be there in a new environment doing something new that we're no good at with people watching. And so because we kind of judge ourselves, we feel a bit awkward, we don't engage in that learning process. Why? Because what is change? Change is always uncomfortable. That's just the way it is. It's very good for us, but it's always uncomfortable. Doing something new is uncomfortable. What else is change? Change is frustrating because of that reason. It's uncomfortable and it's frustrating because we don't know how to do it. And we're a beginner again, and we don't like that. And so because of those two reasons, there's always something else we'd rather do. So it's always inconvenient. Change is always inconvenient. It's uncomfortable, it's frustrating, and it's inconvenient. So if we can have fun, if we can enjoy ourselves, then we can overcome these things. If we don't, what happens? If it's uncomfortable, frustrating, and inconvenient, and we're not enjoying it, then we just avoid it. We just avoid it. It leads to avoidance. And that's no good for learning, is it? That's no good for learning. Something else that's key with enjoying yourself. Look at this quote from Will Thomas. He said, there's no fear when you're having fun. There's no fear. If you're enjoying yourself, you're not worried about what other people think. You're not worried about looking stupid, because you're kind of allowing yourself to have the learner's mindset, the beginner's mindset again. And so without that judgment of yourself, without that stress, without that fear, then we're open to learning. And so 90 minutes later, we'd not only had a great time, but we learned a great deal as well. We'd learned a new skill. So there's no fear when we're having fun. It's like the fun replaces the fear. But if we allow the fear to strike, to take root, then there's no fun. There's no fun when you're having fear. We could change those around, couldn't we? Both important. In fact, that's worth writing down. I love that. There's no fear when you're having fun. Think about it from a Speaking 360 perspective. What does this mean for us as communicators and speakers? Well, how does your audience like to learn? How does your audience like to learn? Well, they probably like to learn the same way as you. They like to enjoy themselves while they're learning when they're in the audience. And so it's your job as a communicator to try and influence that. You're leading them. I remember years ago at a VIP dinner, I was sitting next to Michael Beckwith, and I was chatting to him for hours. Fascinating guy. He's the leader of Agape Church in Los Angeles. Wonderful man, a great speaker, and really, really interesting. So it was very fortunate to be kind of sitting next to him and interviewing him, asking him all these questions and taking so many notes. And then somebody came up and said, what do you do when you're speaking and you're kind of looking at the audience and you're losing them and they're all kind of blank faces? And he said, always remember, I'll never forget this, always remember you're leading their energy, not the other way around. You're leading their energy. So don't be influenced by them. You influence them. That's your role. So you think about that. How does your audience like to learn? Well, they probably want to have fun, and you might need to lead that. One of the best ways, Gretchen Rubin said, one of the best ways to make other people happy is to be happy yourself. If you're having fun as a speaker, if you're enjoying it, then the audience are much more likely to enjoy it as well. And then they can let their guard down, remove the fear, they can have fun, they're open to learning, and then it's much easier to persist, it's much easier to stick at it. Look, the bottom line, guys, is that we have to move through a process of growth if we're going to learn anything. The problem is that we don't move through the process of growth, not that we can't learn it, but that we don't go through the process. So if we can remove the obstacles to that, if we can have fun and enjoy that process, then we're much more likely to learn. So your audience wants to have fun too. And if you enjoy it, if you can keep that in mind and help them have an enjoyable learning experience, then you're much more likely to help them. You're much more likely to be successful, but you're much more likely to help them. Simple, really, isn't it? That's it for this week. We'll see you next week. And for everyone, not just fathers, not just fathers celebrating, but everyone, happy Father's Day. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for being a part of the 360 community. If you've enjoyed this message, please share it. We'd appreciate that very much. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. God bless.